Our community magazine here on Seven Waves. This is indeed Will tonight. It's Finn Thomas with you through until 8 o'clock. And joining me in the studio now, we have three ladies. We've got Emily, who's 14. We've got Nicola Broadley and Claire Kelly. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. So let's talk to Nicola first of all. Nicola Broadley, you're the owner and head coach of NCD Cheer Xtreme. So tell us a little bit about that and how did the idea for the organisation come into being?
Okay. Well, basically we've got two large clubs now, one based in Cheshire and our brand new venue which opened this Sunday, and that's in Liverpool in Firefit, near Toxteth. And a couple of years ago I actually had a performing arts school, and a lot of my students were saying to me, you know, have you ever heard of cheerleading? And I was like, no, never heard of it, but they obviously wanted to do it, so I looked into it. I found that there was a big competition on in Telford called the BCA, which is the British Cheerleading Association, their competition. So I was up there working, and I thought, right, I'll pop in and have a nose. Went in, and it was unbelievable. I was expecting to see lots of little girls running around throwing pom-poms in the air, and it was the complete opposite. It was, you know, girls probably from 16 to 30-year-olds and men throwing each other up in the air, and in the meantime also doing backflips as they threw them, so it was pretty amazing. I thought to myself, right, this is something I really want to get into. So I ended up going over to one of the judges on the day, who was an American coach called Anne Gorman from Cheer Eruption in America. And she kindly offered to put me through a course. And I'd done a course with her and became a master cheer coach with her herself in England.
Now, your background, you were apparently a professional dancer anyway, weren't you? So you had a background in, you know, well, dance anyway.
Yeah. I'm a professional singer first and also a professional dancer, so trained as a singer and a dancer from a young age. And then obviously went off and toured the world, basically. You know, my first sort of big adventure was an 18-month world cruise at the age of 19. So, you know, it was fantastic living in Miami and LA while we stopped in the ships and things. So I've never ever really been off the stage. It was only when I sort of got a little bit older in life. I still perform now and again. I've just, you know, booked Panto this year, so there's, you know, that's all happening. But I wanted to get more into the actual like production side and the teaching side more as well.
Now, people, you know, we were talking on the phone before this interview, but people, I would think, have this preconceived idea about exactly what cheerleading is. And as you say, it's like blonde bimbos throwing pom-poms.
Says me and I'm blonde.
But it isn't anything like it. It's more like gymnastics, isn't it?
It's an absolute amazing. It's a sport, and I know there's probably people sitting at home now thinking it's not a sport, but I'd like them to come and try it. You know, get hold of my number and come and try something that we can do, because we get a lot of guys that, you know, especially in the gym, that walk past and they see our boys and girls and they do snigger. You know, and there was one day we were in our Liverpool gym before we moved to the new one in the university, and there was a kickboxing class on. And they were laughing at all our boys. So we went in the middle of this kickboxing class and showed them what we did. And we threw a girl up in the air. She'd done a backflip in the air. They caught her. One of our boys, called Magic, he picked up a girl on one hand, on one leg. And the lads just couldn't be, they were amazed. And they tried it and they physically couldn't do it, because their upper body strength wasn't used to performing, lifting people that height. So they had a lot more respect for us by the end of the lesson.
Well, let's talk about the training that's involved. I think at this point you probably need to bring Claire Kelly in, because you're one of the coaches. There's 8 different coaches, but you're one of them. So how do you, I mean, what Nicola was talking about there was the lad who was holding the girl with one hand. How do you train people to do that?
They actually need an awful lot of stamina and flexibility, so we actually have conditioning classes that we run as well. We couldn't just put people in a class and expect them to do that. They do train an awful lot. We have tumble classes, we have conditioning, we have stretching classes, we have dance classes, and most of our cheerleaders do most of the classes because they want to do it. The younger ones see the older ones doing it and it inspires them. They want to get on and they want to do what the older ones are doing, so they work even harder. But basically it's training, training, training.
So how much training is actually involved then, say during a week? How much training would you actually do? I mean, is this one for Nicola, is it, or is this one for Claire?
Don't mind, yeah. We train, we're open on a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday and a Monday. And on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, myself, Claire and another couple of girls also do after-school clubs or in-school workshops as well. Training Friday is from like 7:30 till 9:30, which is quite a short training session because it's more intense. Saturday, I'm up at the crack of dawn. I pick up the first lot of kids around 7:30 because I take a few girls whose parents can't get them to the venue. And we start training just after 8:30. And then that doesn't finish till 7:30, 8 o'clock. Sunday, again, it's a 9 o'clock start at the gym. And again, some nights, Emily, bless her, there till 8 o'clock at night. And then Monday, I'm back in a school teaching at 4 and straight to the gym till 10. So it's pretty intense.
I was going to say that's almost 12 hours on a Sunday, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you know, after the last couple of months, to be honest, I've been coaching on my own there because we've been moving venues. I've not had the coaches in. I've sort of been getting them prepared for the next venue. So eating and drinking and sleeping, I don't really know what that is at the moment. But yeah, it's hard, but we love it.
Well, let's bring in the youngest guest in the studio tonight. We're going to talk now to Emily, who is 14 years old. Now, Emily, what made you want to get into cheerleading? What was the background to that?
Well, I was a gymnast. Like, I've been a gymnast since I was little. And one of my coach's daughter, who's our team captain at the moment, Jen, yeah. She came into my gym and did like some little cheerleading workshops, and we were going to compete, but we weren't like quite ready, and then they stopped the class and gave us a few like places and different teams that we could try, and then I came to NCD and loved it.
Never looked back.
Only because of Nikki, of course.
Now, one of the things that you actually do is you mentioned about the competitions nationally, but there's an international cheerleaders competition, isn't there? So where is that held normally?
It's held every year in the Echo Arena in Liverpool. You've got it's called Jamfest, so it's a massive American company. It's so well known in America, and once a year they literally come over to England to hold the internationals. This year we were against teams from Finland, Sweden, France, and I think there was a Spanish team against us. And you literally go into different divisions from 1 to 5. And you're talking, you know, it's the Echo Arena, it's full, it's somewhere that Beyonce's been on, and then the kids get on that same stage. So it's pretty inspirational in that way, you know, because they're stood there looking out and there's 10,000 people watching them. And at the end of the day, we were lucky enough this year to win 2 divisions and be also invited to go to the US Nationals next year to actually compete for the UK.
Emily, tell us what it's like to go on a stage with about 10, 20,000 people watching.
I'm the wrong person
Yeah,
to be
she's
asking that.
I love
I
it.
have full-on panic attacks before I go on stage, and I'm like crying my eyes out and can't breathe before I go on. But then like once you get on, you just like get all the adrenaline, and it's dead exciting having everyone like performing in front of that many people. But like before you go on, it's really, really nerve-wracking.
I mean, I would imagine, I've never done cheerleading, but I would imagine going on there, the big panic you've got is about making the wrong move or dropping something.
Or like falling, and like, because obviously we are always like confident with our routines before we go on, but my big problem is like everybody watching and that many eyes like on you. But when you like watch all them other teams perform before you go on, like you get excited to go on and like do what they've been doing and have everyone watching you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're going to be nervous as well, so everyone's in the same boat, aren't they?
Emily had a massive panic this year just before she went on and was crying. We had to walk away, me and her, and have a chat and calm her down. And at one point I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to go on again. You know, because I've done it before where I've literally gone on in 20 seconds and done the routine. And I just thought, okay, good enough, she went on. And I remember stood in the middle of the stage, and I could see, and I was going, look at me, just keep your eyes on me. And I was pulling faces going, just trying to keep her from laughing and not get that nervous bug, because once you got eye contact with someone else, she might have lost that concentration.
Thrown up.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, Emily, you're 14, but what kind of age groups do you actually cater for in terms of children?
We take on, our youngest is 4. Generally for insurance reasons, it's a nice age limit to take on because they're really starting to just listen and not cry to mummy all the time. And they're like little sponges, so you can teach them so much, and they do genuinely listen. We make the classes really good fun by introducing them to like our cheer teddy bears, where they can take them home, the best person in the class, and they have diaries that they take home, and they do like a cheer diary with their teddy bear. And we have tea parties, and we incorporate cheer dance and cheer movements inside those classes. So those classes are really good. And then it goes right up to our seniors, and our oldest member was a gentleman called Jimmy, and he was a maths teacher, maths professor, and basically I think he was 35 age. And
Yeah, about
35, 36-year-old and amazing cheerleader. Amazing.
From what Claire was telling us before about the stamina that you need,
Yeah.
you know, that's incredible to still be doing it at 35, isn't it?
Absolutely, and not just doing it like, you know, a little thing. He's throwing girls up in the air, you know, 15, 16-year-old girls, and catching them on one hand, and he's amazing. And he's not the only one. I mean, our girls are just unbelievable. You know, we've got girls at like 11, 12 who can take me in the air. Literally take me there for pure upper body strength. And sometimes I'll always say in the class, if I won't do it myself, I won't make you do it. And sometimes I have to eat my own words because they go, you do it then. So I end up going up in the air, and these little ones like, you know, Roisin and Megan Wells, I think they're 10, 11, and they can hold me in this position in the air. And I'm sweating a bit, but they get me up there and they won't drop me, and they're dead proud as well. So it is about strength.
Now, you mentioned in the interview there, you've actually qualified now for a competition in America. So the problem you have now is the cost of getting over there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. This will be nearly the fourth year we've actually won at the Jamfest, and in one of the divisions to actually get an invitation to America to represent England. And there's many other teams that get these invitations. It's always the winner of, like, you have Division 1 to 5, and the winner out of all those divisions get the invitation to go over. So this year we were lucky enough to win, and we got a paid registration bid to the US finals in Chicago next year. And it's fantastic because you're looking around £150 per person to actually be entered. So good enough, fantastic. The competition pays for that, which is, you know, it's an absolute godsend. But then you don't realise that you have to get to America, you have to sleep there, and you have to eat, you know. So all in all, you're probably looking at just over £1,000 per child just to get there, which is such a shame, because what I don't want to happen is every year we get there, every year we win. How many times can we do this and not go to America until the kids start saying, what's the point? What's the point? So yeah, that's the hard and sad thing for us.
So the finals are in Chicago, is it? Did you say?
Yeah, there's 5 finals. They're in different places like this. I think there's one in Fort Lauderdale, there's one in LA, and so the one we've actually been looked at to go into is the Chicago one in May next year. We're fundraising. We've tried to fundraise. We've got about £1,200, and that's since May. But you know, it's just not enough because we've got to start booking it now. That £1,200, which is fantastic for fundraising, would only get one child over there, and you're looking at like 25 others that couldn't go. 25
in a team?
Yeah, well, you can have anything from 15 to 36, but that team had 25 in.
Yeah. So obviously you're looking for sponsors. We'll be giving you our contact details shortly, so if anyone who's interested in helping. Now, what I was going to ask you was, how do new members get involved in the NCD Cheer Xtreme organisation?
Well, they can do what's called a tryout day, which we had Sunday and on Saturday, and we took on just over 190 members, all different levels. We got girls that were very, very basic, but were willing to learn, and they're amazing. They're the ones you want, the sponges that will just take everything in, you know. And then we've got girls that were fantastic. They come out of the woodwork, and they were these level 4 tumblers that had been like walking the streets, probably doing nothing. And all of a sudden they came, and we just thought, fantastic. So that was great. But if you've missed those tryouts, then if you're giving our details out, then please call, because we can always do a private tryout where you come in, get to, together with the coach, and they can go through all the elements to see how good you are and put you in a team if you're like the choice that we have for you.
Okay, now before we do give the contact details, you just mentioned there about level 4. Now I was going to ask you, what kind of qualifications or levels do you have?
Qualifications as a cheer coach? Or levels in
sorry,
cheer?
As regards the girls joining you, you mentioned level 4s.
Okay, level 1 basically is it's a nice level. It's for a lot of girls who've never done things before. The biggest sort of technique you have to have is like a walkover, which if you're a gymnast or a dancer, they'd understand what that is. But it's quite a basic move, something that can be taught quite simply. And then it goes up to 2, 3, 4. Emily at the moment is waiting and trying to get on level 4. She's trying to get on the level 14, where she needs to do what's called a back tuck, which is basically a back flick with no hands and back somersault, standing. And it's quite it's a hard thing, but you can't get in that team unless you have that. So there are different elements of levels, but it just goes from 1 to 4, and obviously there is a 5 as well. Unfortunately, we have the skills for 5, but our age is too young. Everybody in that team has to be over 18, so we can't hit the level 5, even though we've got the skills, until all the girls are over 18.
Right. I'm glad I asked that question.
Sorry to talk so much.
No, it's okay. As I say, when you mentioned something about level 4, I thought, oh, how many levels are there?
Yeah.
Right, so if anybody's interested in either sponsoring, helping with sponsorship, I was going to ask you, obviously, the uniforms themselves must cost some money, mustn't they?
Yeah, you've got to say, the first uniforms they ever got, which was about 10 years ago, because they're amazing quality, so they last so long. The only time you change them is with the times, when fashion changes. They were looking at around £190 each then. They got new uniforms last year for the 2013 season, which is like a more trendier, up-to-date uniform that's kept with the times. And the girls just couldn't simply afford them, so what we did was we fundraised, and the club bought them for the girls. And the girls do a higher charge now of £2.
Well, it's £20, but then we get the
You get 18 back. So it's like a £2 higher charge, and that covers, we clean them, we put all the diamantes back on, and we store them for them. But yeah, that's a killer. And transport as well, getting nearly 200 girls to sort of Bournemouth next year, you're looking at maybe four coaches at maybe £500. That's, again, so these are all the things that we're trying to do for them at the moment.
Okay, so if we have anyone who's listening tonight who might be able to help out, I mean, there might be more than one person who could probably help out financially, and certainly if anyone's interested in getting involved in the organisation, we're talking here to Nicola Broadley. What are your contact details, Nicola?
Well, basically, if they wanted to telephone, I can give them a number. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's 077 44 20512. Or if they wanted to email the club, it's simply ncdcheerleading@googlemail.com. If they forget all those, they can always just put into Google NCD Cheer, and all our websites will come up and the information's on there also.
That's brilliant. Well, I do hope you get to Chicago next year.
Thank you so much.
You certainly sound like you've deserved the trip there, if nothing else. So many thanks to Nicola Broadley, she's the owner and head coach, and we had Claire Kelly, who's one of the 8 coaches, and we've also had young Emily, who's 14 now, and she came in to tell us about her experiences. Thanks for everyone for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
And we're going to play one of your cheerleading songs now. I guess
It's just one of the songs that the girls all seem to like. When we're on the coach, we put it on, and it's a bit of a happy tune, makes them smile, gets them going.
Get you in the mood for the cheerleading.
Absolutely.
It's Sam and the Womp and Bom Bom Bom.
Yay!
That was great.
Thank you so much.